Randi, mom, writer, and the author of From the Heart of a Mother.
And I'm Brielle, her 13-year-old co-host, and her daughter.
We wanted to start this podcast because the tween and teen years can be full of emotion and change for both mom and kids.
And sometimes it's hard to really talk about what we're feeling or what's going on in our lives.
So this is going to be our space to have those heart-to-heart talks that remind us we're all learning and growing together.
So, how was your week?
My week was okay. My weekend has been kind of exhausting. I don't know about you.
I need some ice and some aspirin.
Why do you need ice?
I have a headache. There's so many parties this weekend.
But you don't need ice with that. I don't understand. You don't have to let. Okay, so what happened to you this weekend?
So, I had a really big party to go to yesterday. There was a lot of noise, a lot of music, and a lot of dancing, which I had no idea what to do because there were so many songs and so many dances, and I did not know what to do.
And were the boys dancing with the girls?
Not really. We had one game where we had to sort of choose who you wanted to dance with for 30 seconds in each period, but it wasn't that much.
So what was going on? Because at one point, Brielle texted me to say, hey, because Brielle and I had this conversation a while ago that if she's ever in a situation where she feels uncomfortable, that it's okay to blame the mom because moms kind of get blamed for everything. So why not just blame me for this? And that way, if she's in an uncomfortable situation where it's hard to speak up, she can just say, hey, I have to my mom needs me or something. And that way she can get out of an uncomfortable situation. So you had texted me and what was going on?
So basically, I was feeling afraid people were going to bully me there because there were 200 people there. It was a fancy party, and I was feeling pressure to fit in, even though I wasn't in the school where most of the people were in, and I was afraid that I would get bullied for something.
Because you felt what?
I felt uncomfortable. I didn't feel like I belonged.
Right. Which I think we can all relate to that. And so, but you landed up at the end. What happened?
At the end, one of the girls and we went up on stage to do dance moves.
That's right.
Rock and roll bull dances.
So my husband and I go to pick her up thinking that, oh no, something's going on. And we landed up waiting for her because she's on the stage dancing to a Spice Girl song with this other girl. So way to go, Brielle, for doing that. That was amazing. But in the end, she landed up being okay, even though you weren't comfortable in the moment.
Yes.
Right? So it landed up working out. But that actually lends itself to what we wanted to talk about, which was bullying.
Yes.
And your experiences with that.
Yeah. So there was one time, a couple years ago, I was at the summer camp, sports camp, and there were these two popular girls that I became friends with on the first day, and they was oh, she's one of us now, we're all best friends and everything. And then lands up a week later, they were writing on a piece of paper how I like the counselors, which is sort of not true, and how I want to kiss them or something.
Kiss the counselor?
Yeah, I didn't say anything about that, and then they handed it to the counselor, I think, for embarrassing. I mean, I don't remember it very well, but that's what I'm pretty sure what happened. And then one of my guy friends there, he said, you should write a note to them, asking why.
To your friends, you mean? Your so-called friends?
Yeah, why they were so mean to me. So I did, and then they were yelling at me and was you said this, this, and this. You were the one who did this, and you were the one who did this, and I wasn't the one who did that.
So they blamed you. What did they accuse you of doing?
Writing the note or just not being there. I don't understand. I don't know. I don't remember.
They accused you of writing the note that sorry, that's our cat in the background. So wait, so they accused you of writing a note that they had written?
Yes, I think so. Oh, it makes no sense. This is why I hate popular kids.
So not all popular kids, let's be honest, not all popular kids there's plenty of kids that
Some of them are, though.
Yes, but I understand how it can be hard if you're on the outside and you're looking in, how sometimes it could feel hard to fit in.
Yes.
I totally get that. So what ended up happening with those two girls? Did they say anything mean to you?
Not really.
They just went behind your back and wrote a letter. And so what happened after that?
We just stopped being friends and stopped hanging out. And me and my actual friends who were there, we lost in touch, which kind of sucks, but
yeah,
I guess that's what happened.
So did you have any experiences with someone actually making fun of you?
Well, there were these 7-year-old boys when I was 9 years old. An after-school program I went to for a while. They called me Slowpoke to make fun of me because I was a girl.
Okay, that's terrible.
Yeah, and then I had talked to a teacher, and then we all got resolved, but still, they were not the best of boys.
Has anyone else ever bullied you?
Not that I recall.
Okay.
Has anyone ever bullied you before?
Dum dum dum. So, yes, growing up when I was in middle school, 5,000 years ago, when I was in middle school, I wanted to fit in. So I could absolutely relate to the fact of you wanting to fit in. And these two girls that I thought were my friends, and I felt happy that I was in this group, but the girls ended up making fun of me all the time and just making comments about my hair, about my eyeshadow, which anything they could think of, they made fun of. They made fun of my voice. Just every day they were picking on me and saying something about me. And I didn't make the connection that I was being bullied. For some reason, I just told myself, oh, like they're just, even though they're saying these things, they're still my friends.
Why?
Why? Like I look back and I wonder why I did that. I don't know if it was just because I wanted to fit in so badly that I was willing to overlook people being mean to me. At the time, I was just not really very confident about myself, and I allowed people to treat me in a way that was not right. And I didn't have your confidence to be like, hey, this is wrong, which I don't get because if someone else was being mean, like if I saw someone being made fun of,
Yeah.
I would have spoken up and said, hey, don't be mean to someone.
Yeah.
But when it came to myself, for some reason, I didn't make the connection. I don't know what the reason is.
Well, what happened in the end?
Well, in the end, I we ended up we were kind of a group throughout middle school. So 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, we were friends. And I say friends in quotation marks because that's not how a friend should treat you. And I never really stood up for myself. And then we went on to high school and lost touch. And I never really spoke up and said, hey, this is wrong the way you're treating me. And I never, at the time, I didn't go and make other friends, which I had an opportunity to do that. There were other kids there that were perfectly nice. I don't know why I stayed in what I did. I don't know if it's one of those things where it was just like, oh, I know them and they're familiar, so I'm going to get to you to hang out with them.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's hard to make new friends.
I
And
understand.
so I guess in my mind, it was easier to stay with the people that I knew than to try to make new friends.
Maybe it was kind of easier on you that they were like making fun of you because you didn't have to like, I don't know, like worry about what you would do because they were already doing it to you.
What do you mean about worry about what I would do?
Well, like if you ever like, for example, like if you ever got nervous or said something, you wouldn't have to worry because they would already like, they've been saying mean stuff to you before. So like you wouldn't have to worry about messing up.
That's an interesting take on it. Like, it didn't matter what I did because no matter what, they were gonna make fun of me.
I mean, sort of.
Yes. I mean, I never thought of it like that at the time. I really convinced myself that they were my friends. I really thought that and I remember being afraid of saying things and doing things. I remember one of them once gave me this pencil holder and it shook and it had a picture of like a Minnie Mouse on it. And one of the things that the girl would tell me is that my voice sounded like Minnie Mouse,
That's
but
terrible.
she wasn't saying it in like a, oh, that's adorable sort of way. She was saying it in like a, ha ha, you have a squeaky voice sort of way.
So she was giving you that pencil to make fun of you.
That's the thing that and she gave me this gift. It was before the end of the summer. She was like the end of the school year, and she gives me this pencil holder that has Minnie Mouse in it. So on the one hand, and I remember her giving it to me, and it seemed like she was doing it in like a nice way. So that's what confused me. I was like, she's making fun of me and calling me Minnie Mouse, and then she's giving me this gift, says Minnie Mouse. So like maybe she really isn't making fun of me. Maybe she really is my friend. It was just these mixed messages that I was getting from her that were confusing me. And I just one of those things that I've always tried to teach you, and I want everyone to know is that true friends are not people that are going to make you feel badly about yourself. Like that's not being a good friend.
That does sound confusing.
But it was confusing at the time, but that's not the kind of friendships that you want. You don't want friendships where one minute you feel like they're your friend and then the next minute you're not sure if they're your
You always want to have a friend that you can trust.
you always want to have a friend you can trust. And you want a friend that you can come to and be like, hey, you're doing this. This not to say friends won't ever hurt you because people are human and they're going to do things that might hurt you. But you can be able to come to them and say, hey, this hurt my feelings and know that they'll talk to you and listen to what you have to say and respect your feelings. I've never felt comfortable coming to them and saying, hey, you're really hurting me.
You know what else I think?
What?
I think also peer pressure can also make, you start bullying other people, like copying what they're doing.
That's really true. That's a great point that you make. Do you I know that you have had situations where you felt that you were bullied.
Yes.
Particularly you said with those girls over the summer.
Yeah, but I've also bullied some people over the years, which I regret.
What were those situations?
So the girls that are making fun of me at that summer camp, they were kind of mean to these other girls who were a little different, but like I wanted to fit in, and they didn't want to hang out with them. I was afraid if I hung out with those other girls, then the popular kids wouldn't want to be friends with me anymore. So
Different, you mean like not popular?
well, yes,
Okay.
they're also from a different culture.
Okay.
So, and then I also started like ignoring those girls and like trying to fit in with the popular kids because I wanted those popular kids to like me.
And looking back, how do you feel about that?
I regret it. That's one of the biggest things I regret
Yeah.
because I don't consider myself a mean person. I try to be nice to everybody, but I mean they didn't have any friends, and I just made it worse.
Yeah, that's sad and that's hard. And you felt like you had to be mean to people that were of a different culture than you because the popular
Specifically
kids.
those girls, because it wasn't just any random girl that I didn't know. It was because those girls were not being nice to those girls, so I was
Right.
trying to do the same thing to fit in.
Right. In reality, if someone was another culture, you wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can relate to what you're saying to a certain extent. So one of my big regrets is when I was in fifth grade. I remember being on the bus, riding home from school, and there was this boy that, and I'm sure I've told you this story. There was this boy that I don't remember what compelled us to write a letter about him, but I think he was just like one of those kids that would go around bothering people, not being a bully necessarily, but he just did things that rubbed people the wrong way.
I understand.
And I was never a popular kid. I was always like in
Like
a
neutral.
I was
Like your standard type girl.
what you mean my standard type of girl. Like I was never popular. I was never like I guess yeah, like what you're saying is that I wasn't like made fun of all the time, but I wasn't popular. I was
Yes.
somewhere in
That's what I
between.
meant.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like somewhere in between. I had my little group of friends and like a small group. And I think we were just because we were never considered the popular kids and we always were kind of on the outside looking in. And so we wrote this letter about this boy and each of us contributed something to this letter. And I remember my part of the letter was saying that he had picked his nose, which he did, but there was no reason to write a letter and say it to him. And so he got this, we put this letter in his book bag. I wasn't the one to put the letter in the book bag. That doesn't matter. But I had something to do with the letter. And I remember that his mother called up our house and asked to speak to me. And I thought she was going to yell at me or like tell me how terrible it was. And she was just really nice about it and said, yeah, you're right. He does pick his nose. Like that's something that I need to work on with him. Something like that. And I felt so badly that I had done that. And that's why all these years later, I still remember it. Like that I did something. I had something to do with someone's feelings being hurt. I had something to do with saying something hurtful about someone else. And his mother really did it gracefully. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel so badly about that, and I wish I could take it
I mean, I kind of understand. I mean, you were like me. You wanted to fit in with the other kids so they would like you.
Yeah, I wanted to fit in, and also I think that sometimes you're just angry about life, about, like, why aren't I popular? Why don't I have these things? Why can't and you feel different, and
You take it out on someone else.
yeah, like, you feel left out, and so sometimes taking it out on someone else makes you feel better about yourself in the moment. Although it's never a long-term thing, like, it just gives you that feeling for a little minute, you feel better about yourself, and then afterwards, you just never forget it.
That's the thing. The thing about popular kids and some kids who like bully. They are angry about their lives, themselves, who they are, and then they look at someone else who's not as popular as they are, and then they just feel like if they make fun of that person, then they would like be better than everyone and people would actually start accepting them. So then that makes them feel better, but then they actually in reality that's not who they are inside.
I mean, and that's not even necessarily like bullies don't always have to be popular kids.
No.
You could have popular kids that are not bullies, and you could have bullies that are not popular kids. But I agree with you that people who make fun of other people are doing it because they're hurting and they're saying things and doing things to make them feel better about themselves. And you never know what's going on in their houses, in their lives, in their hearts. Like they can be in a lot of pain. And I wonder about that. Like those girls that made fun of me in junior high. I think about it sometimes, like what was going on in their lives made them feel better to pick on me that they did that. And then you have to think about those girls that were making those comments to you or that were excluding other kids. What was going on in their lives that made them feel like they had to do that to feel better about themselves?
Yeah, you're right.
It's a hard situation. And that's why I told I told you this story before because I want you to remember that even if it feels good in that moment to make someone feel smaller than you, it's
Yeah.
never good to hurt someone else and to cause someone else pain.
Well, how do you think bullying or being bullied can affect us in our lives?
I think that being made fun of, being told that you're not good enough, is just it could affect you much longer than the amount of time that you're bullied. And the problem that is goes on with your generation in particular, like back when I was a kid, when dinosaurs roamed the planet, like we didn't have social media, we didn't have technology, we didn't have other ways of being made fun of. We went to school and then we came home. But with you and social media and emails and all these online places, there are so many ways that people can make fun of you. It's not just at home. You can hear it online. It can follow you. Did I say it's just not at home? My goodness, I need to take a nap. It's just not in school. It can come home with you also. And like there's no escape from it. And so it's a lot harder for your generation. I don't know if you've ever seen anyone make fun of someone through the internet. I mean, I really try to limit the opportunities that you have to do things online.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of someone making fun of someone online?
I mean, not in particular, but like there's a bunch of like people who are like starting like acting or singing careers or people who are starting to become famous. And then they have on all these online platforms, like there's all these people who are making comments about them. Like remember that one celebrity I like was obsessed with?
Yeah.
And they were saying stuff like you were better looking when you were younger and now like you're not that good looking or you're not
Well,
that good or like you can't make this as a career, that sort of stuff.
who said that?
I mean, I don't like there's I that not like not all of that was about that one person in particular, but there's a bunch of people that have been bullied. Even kids who are not on like famous or anything. They've been bullied because of the way they look or their hair or the way they talk or their accent or whatever it is.
In social media.
Yes.
I mean, because I know a lot of your friends, you were telling me that a lot of your friends have these channels, these YouTube channels.
Yes.
And so when you do those things, opening yourself up for the entire world to look at you and to make comments about
I
you.
don't think I've seen any of them get bullied through the internet, but it's a big risk.
It is. And that's one of the reasons why we do this right now, audio. Like, I know that one of the conversations we had was whether or not to do it as a video as well. And I said that I didn't want to open it up to the whole world being able to see you, to make comments like that, that it's just that's why you don't have your own channel. That's why you're not on social media. Just because there's just you can't protect your kids from the entire universe. Like it's scary enough as a parent to send you to school, but then internet is just filled with everybody under the sun. And I'm sure I've told you this, but as someone that puts my writing out on social media and I've been on all these platforms, like if you open yourself up to people saying really mean things about you and making nasty comments. And so I remember one time I made a comment, I posted something about age appropriate chores. And someone made a comment that I was like using my child as slave or something like
What?
that.
That's ridiculous.
Like they said like terrible things about me because I had said that like I think I said at the time that I was having you like take the dishes off the table or something like that, like the paper dishes off the table.
That's what
And
you're supposed to do.
like I was having you do like simple things like that or like I don't I think I said I had you like take your dishes and I think gather up the placemats or something like that. And I was getting all this feedback that you shouldn't have kids do any sort of chores and like you're terrible and all this stuff. And all
So
over
mean.
Instagram. Like I had all these comments from people, and I remember being just horrified that people would say such terrible things to me. And one of the things I've really had to do as someone who writes and puts content on social media is just learn to not interact with certain people that are going to say mean things. Like if you're going to say something mean, I'm not going to engage with you because it's just not my job to convince you. And I think it goes back to our conversation. Like I then wonder about these people when you're saying mean things to someone, what's going on in your life that you feel like you need to go and insult people on the internet?
One thing I always say, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it.
Right. But like you have to wonder because you're able to just hide behind a computer. It makes people a lot braver. Like people say things on the computer that they normally wouldn't say in person because you have a computer to hide behind. They don't see your face. They don't know you. So you can say all sorts of mean things to people called trolling. I don't know if you've heard of that
I've heard
term.
of that, yes.
So like those are what trolls do. Like they go around and they just make mean comments. And so you're able to do that because of the fact that you're hiding behind a computer. And it's a really frightening thing. And it's something I try to not have you in for as long as possible. Like even just us doing these conversations was something that I was concerned about because it's giving you a little bit of exposure. And I was a little afraid of that.
Yeah, I understand.
So, I mean, with your friends that are on these social media platforms, do they limit it so that they're just, so you said they haven't gotten bullied at all? Do
I
they
mean,
just
I don't think so. They haven't said anything to me, but some of them make it so they put emojis over their faces or they turn off the comments so they don't see any comments being written so they don't get hurt, that sort of stuff.
That's smart. Like, I think that's a really good idea.
Yes.
So I know that we've had just a really heavy conversation. I wanted to end it a little bit on a more lighter note, which is there was something that happened over the weekend this past week, besides all your parties.
Yes.
Something that was unexpected.
Very unexpected.
So what was that?
So we got a new cat.
So before this new cat, we had a dog and 2 cats. And our house is in the middle of being renovated. So it's just like a disaster zone here. So yes, this cat was not planned on. Long story short, the cat needed a place and we found out about this cat and tried to see if there was someone who would adopt the cat, and no one did. And so we took the cat, who's a very sweet cat.
Very sweet, very cute, very
And
playful.
her name is
Lola.
And so we now have 3 cats and a dog and a Brielle and just a lot of that's how I feel. That's how I feel. It's just a lot, but it's good when we're able to give her a home, and that not her Brielle, her the cat, her the cat. And so that was an exciting thing to do. And yeah, it's been a good week. And was that me or was that the cat? The cat just meowed as my stomach girl. There's just like a lot going on here. There's just a lot going on here. So yeah, it's been a hectic week. It's been a good week, but I'm glad we got to have this heart to heart.
Me too.
And I hope moving forward, if there's a situation where you feel compelled to bully, that you'll remember it's better to do the right thing and to speak up if someone is being bullied also.
Stay in there and be yourself.
That's right. Stay in there and be yourself. Thank you for this heart to heart, Brielle.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.